Right, guys. I'm going to share a recording with you from an Hamas fighter that was allegedly released by the IDF. How they got the call, I don't know. I would warn you, it is very distressing. Right. I will pause as I translate it into English. So let's start from the beginning. Hello. Hold on. I'll translate it and then I'll play the whole thing without any interruptions. Dad, I'm talking to you from Massive One. Open my watch now and see me all that's killed. Look how many I look how many I killed. Look how many I killed. Blood of Jewish on my hands. May God protect you from your father. Dad, I'm talking to you from Jewish woman's marriage. I kill her. I killed 10 with my own hands. Look my WhatsApp. Open my WhatsApp. See all the people I killed with my bare hands. His dad's breaking his heart. Right, let me let me let me play it. Then I'll put the link in the chat or in the description, and you can go read it for yourself. Because I can't play and transcribe it at the same time because it brings up a banner, so you can't actually see it. Hi, Dad. Right. If that was my brother, I'd say to him, I tell you what, come to the house tonight and we'll have a celebration. Thanks, brother. Talk to you later. Okay, bye for now. Right? When he got to the house, it would be a competition. It would be a competition between me and my brother. And the competition would be, does my brother arrest him first? Or, as a member of the armed forces, do I put a bullet through his head first? Would be, make sure my brother gets there before I do, because if I get there before my brother arrests him, I will put a bullet through his head and I will carry out my duty as a member of the armed forces. You could see, you could hear, you don't need the translation. You can see how distressed his mum and dad were. His sister thought it was just a joke because she was laughing, but his mother and father were in tears. That is outrageous. And there's 100,000 people took to the streets of London today, minimum, to support these thugs. That is unbelievable. As I said, I've put the link. I've put the link in the description, and you can go listen to it for yourself. I'll post it here for those of you that do come in. You know, and the thing is, there's thousands of these videos taken from their phones circulating all over the web, and it's absolutely disgusting. Now, people are taken to the streets all over the world today, destroying their local economies for these thugs, for these animals. You know, they don't believe in Allah. They have no religion. First part of any book you read, thou shalt not kill. That was unmeditated murder. That wasn't self-defense. You know, and the way the guy's so proud of it. Now, okay, we don't know if it's real or not, or whether it's just the Israelis made it up. That's why I said allegedly killed 10. And the way he says, oh, go to my WhatsApp and see how I killed them all. So I would like to know how he uploaded video to WhatsApp. Oh, the more I hear, the more I think, what the heck? Wow. I'll have a look on YouTube, see if I can find any more. But it's disgusting. Oh, what makes it even worse is not only did he call his mum and dad brother and sister, bragging how he murdered 10 Jews, he actually stole the woman's phone and used it to call his mum, dad, brother and sister. Partly he killed the woman and then killed the husband as well, and then he went on to kill others. And this was released allegedly by the IDF. That's why I said alleged, because we don't know if it's true or fake. I'll put the CV back on in a minute. Got to be careful today because of all the protests in London. They've all got music, so you know. This is why I say you all got to start helping each other. The only reason this is happening is because of fake books trying to do land grabs. This is all happening because of lies thousands of years ago. And so now grown men and possibly women are reacting to fake books. And this is all happening because these people are living in poverty. We're not talking just Gaza, West Bank, Lebanon, Yemen. We're talking worldwide. The problems of the world today are all being caused by poverty and because people won't help each other. It's like the copper who got sacked for racially profiling two athletes. They've now raised £100,000 for him because he got fired for racial abuse. As I said the other day, when it was only 65,000. Do I have to become a criminal to get help now? Like I said, I'm a good guy. I try to earn a living on a daily basis, but I get no help. Drug dealers, they get help. Alcoholics get help. Gamblers get help. Sexual predators get help. Rapists get help. Criminals get help. But I get nothing. This is what I can't understand. I'm a good guy using free internet and I can't get any help. And I can't understand why. I just posted the link for the Hamas terrorist's phone call to his father. I posted it on one website, 500 views in the time I posted it. So since I played it here and I posted it, it's now had 500 views. See, this is all you people want. You don't want to help each other. You just want death and destruction. Because it's all you people know now. You don't know how to be social. You don't know how to help each other. But when people kill others, oh, you'll bend over backwards to see that video. When a scammer sends you the latest scam, oh, you'll share that to 20 billion people. But when someone like me comes along, honest, straightforward, doesn't mix his work, it's, oh, you're a fake, get lost. And nobody wants to help me because I'm a straightforward, honest guy trying to earn an honest living, not like Trump, a criminal, not like Microsoft, a criminal, not like Mark Zuckerberg, another criminal, not like Elon Musk, criminal. You can only make money in this world if you're a criminal. It's nonsense. Right? No one's coming in this room, not because of me, it's because I've got control of the room. You've got to be subscribed for 5 minutes before you can chat. You've got to wait a minute before you can chat. So they won't come in here because they know I have zero tolerance to abuse. And the first time people start posting their Bible bashing, they'll be gone. The first time they brought abuse against Jews, they'll be gone. The first time they post abuse for Palestine, the more and more I'm seeing on a daily basis, the more and more I'm seeing that these people aren't about free Palestine, they're supporting terrorists. Right, they're showing the protests in Istanbul, which the president of Turkey organised. And the only thing that's going to happen about this is we're going to end up World War III. All the synagogues worldwide are going to end up being burnt down. Our police force in the UK and all around the world are going to be so overwhelmed, they're not going to be able to handle it. Right. London Bridge is completely full of protesters. Don't know if they're blocking the road or whether they're just walking down the pavement, the sidewalk. But it's nonsense because they're not proving anything, and all they're doing is bringing London, Istanbul, and mind you, I think the Istanbul protest is at the airport. So that's not going to do too much damage. Whereas London, it's on the main roads. So they basically shut down London. I used to live and work in London, and every Saturday it was the same. I used to go into work because I worked in North London, but I lived north of London. So I'd come down the M1, slide into the office, and then the receptionist would come running through. Ray, phone call. All right. I said, who is it this time? Oh, it's Bob. We can't get in. All right. I was lucky because I lived north of London rather than in London, but the other school had to fight the way through London. And all the protests did was brought London to a standstill. End result, our company closed down because we couldn't hire new staff because the staff couldn't get into the office, one, for the interview, and two, to start work, because there was always protests in London blocking the main roads and the tubes and everything else, so no one could work. So I ended up unemployed. Then I went to Nottingham, and then from there to Leeds, and then from there to America, and then I came back from America. And I wish I hadn't bothered. I really wish I hadn't bothered. All the internet and mobile phones have done is completely destroyed the world, which is what we said 40 years ago. But no one listened. And now we're all paying the price for it. Absolutely ludicrous. Hold on. I was in another screen. Oh, apparently the gunman in Maine in US has been found dead. I don't know any more than that. I don't know if someone killed him. I don't know if someone killed him or whether it was suicide. Comment below what all this nonsense is about the Iranian teenager. Apparently a girl died or something. I don't know whether you all have fireworks on Tuesday night or on the 5th, sorry. But if you do have fireworks on the 5th of November or tonight, think about those around the world that are being targeted by missiles right now. Think about those that have also fled the Ukraine. world is so messed up now. Yeah. Absolutely hilarious. Where are we now? Turn the TV up. Oh, looks like West Bank.
Has been carrying out rallies since the beginning of the year. The key demand
Oh no, eh?
They want an interim
Bangladesh
government to conduct the election, which is due sometime in January 2024. The government is adamant that say under the constitution the election must be held under the present government, but the government remains defiant. They don't want to have a caretaker government. They said under the constitution it cannot be held. Now both sides have taken a defiant approach, and it looks more and more very confrontational. The police have been cracking down heavily on the opposition member all across the country. Thousands of opposition members have been arrested. The opposition remains defiant. It says that it will continue.
If you ever come into contact with tear gas because you're in the protest, yeah, cover your eyes, and as tear gas goes on you, it's basically CS gas. Everyone says wash. Do not wash for 24 hours. Do not go anywhere near water for 24 hours. You put water on your skin after being in contact with CS gas, it will burn. And I know that from experience. I'm ex-army. We came home after Christmas leave. We did an exercise, 5 foot of snow, and it was a mock CS gas attack. We had our respirators, we had our respirator canister. They said, right, put your canisters on, check your mask, make sure it's all right. Right, I'm going to let a CS gas grenade off in the open. You've got nowhere to hide. Now we'll see if your mask works. I went to grab my respirator, and what the instructors had done was took the canister off. So I, first of all, inhaled CS gas, took the mask off, loved it, God knows where. I can't remember if we ever found it again. I ended up sick for 2 weeks, covered in CS gas. Got back to the billet block, jumped in the showers, and the lad said, you're crazy. I said, yeah, I'm feeling it, because tear gas burns when it comes into contact with water.
Nearly a year on from a stampede in South Korea in which 159 people were killed, families are still demanding accountability. Eunice Kim has more from Seoul.
The nightmare that shocked a nation, where many had suffocated in a bottleneck, a wall of remembrance now stands.
I still don't understand how something like this could happen. To us, a year flew by. I can't imagine how it's been for the families.
A year ago, the first Halloween weekend after pandemic restrictions were lifted, this nightlife hotspot of Itaewon drew an influx of people with little crowd control. And
I'm telling you, you guys are sadists. I posted that link on a forum, and it is going mad.
In addition to monitoring crowds, police and firefighters will be required to respond if 3 emergency calls are made within 50 meters of each other. But grieving families say they're still seeking answers to basic questions from that night. Why a victim's declared time of death doesn't match the official timeline of events. Why fire crews were kept from immediately taking the wounded to hospitals. And why they've yet to receive an apology in person for the botched response.
I'm coming to the conclusion, you're all bloody sadists.
Many times in front of cameras. But if
It's unbelievable.
families try to meet them, they just ignore it.
I've never had a post get so many views.
We need closure. We need an explanation to be able to properly grieve.
So far, no high-level government official has been dismissed for the man-made disaster. Families say they will keep fighting for an independent inquiry to seek accountability and closure. Eunice Kim, Al Jazeera, Seoul.
Well, that's it from me, Tom McRae, for this news hour, but I will be back in just a moment with much more of the day's news.
I'm going off in a minute. I need to make a curry for tonight.
Afghanistan is portrayed through the prism of war. But there were many Afghanistans. Thanks to the brave individuals who risked their lives to protect it from destruction. An extraordinary film archive spanning 4 decades reveals the forgotten truths of the country's modern history. The Forbidden Reel, Part 1, The Birth of Afghan Cinema on Al Jazeera.
Amid the world slowdown, we stand firm as home to a fifth of global nickel reserves. Indonesia is poised to lead the global EV battery industry. We adeptly manage our abundant resources and play a vital role in solar energy harnessing, offering 75% of global carbon credit potential, committed to environmental protection, enhancing investment climate through digital licensing. Indonesia, prepare tomorrow.
Watch the TV a minute.
You can't choose.
I'm going to get to the...
It gives us no hope for a future.
Oh, hold on.
Then we have to find creative solutions, not just turning our backs.
Did I disconnect?
Think about it as a number. Think about it as a person.
Putting yourself in that person's shoes so that you can see from a different
There we
angle.
go.
It's my life. I risk my life. It's dangerous.
We want peace. We want education.
We want democracy.
Because the women in my country, they are not free. They cannot do anything.
We are not an ideology. We are human beings that deserve to be treated equally.
We are walking in the footsteps of our ancestors.
Whatever has been done before can be done even better. As long as a human being is doing it, you can do it.
You just have to keep pushing because no one else can see the vision as clear as you do.
Israel once again warns Palestinians to leave northern Gaza after its heaviest bombardment yet of the Strip. I'm Tom McRae. This is Al Jazeera Live from Doha. Also coming up, calls to end Israel's bombardment of Gaza. Demonstrations take place in several cities around the world in support of Palestinians.
For over 18 hours up to now, we are unable to communicate with our teams who are working on the ground right now in Gaza.
The UN and other aid agencies lose contact with their teams after Israel severs communication services across the territory. And the death toll in Gaza rises to more than 7,700 and nearly 20,000 people are injured in Israel's daily bombardment since October the 7th. Well, it's just past 14 GMT, 4 p.m. in Gaza, where Palestinians are being urged by Israel to leave northern parts of the Strip. It comes after a night of the most intense bombardment by Israel since the war began. Since it began on October the 7th, Israel's bombing campaign across the Gaza Strip has killed 7,703 Palestinians. That's according to the Ministry of Health. It also says 109 Palestinians have been killed in the occupied West Bank in the nearly 3 weeks, and 2 Palestinian prisoners died in Israeli custody. Israel says that.
Oh, and by the way, this food I'm eating, it's not fresh food. It's food I'm picking the mold off, then eating.
Hani Mahmoud joins us from Khan Yunis now. And Hani, as we mentioned, we've seen the heaviest night of bombing since this war began. Has it continued there today, and what is the fallout then?
Yes, Tom. Well, the airstrikes and the mass bombardment just got more intense in the past hours, and we just had an update about the Israeli army urging people and ordering people who remain in the northern part of Gaza to evacuate to the south. But
7,000 people have died in 3 weeks. That's 2,000 people out of 2.5 million. UK has 67 million people, and 10,000 die weekly, 10 to 11,000, because no one will help them.
For Palestinians to evacuate but for the past 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 locations in the city of Khan Yunis were targeted: residential homes and a residential building, a 4-story building in the Al-Harara area, leaving a large number of casualties and a number of people who got killed and were rushed to the hospitals. The fourth attack was near a school, UNRWA school, and a school that is taken by evacuees as a shelter. A residential home near that school was targeted, leaving everyone in the school very, very worried and afraid that more of this bombardment is going to continue. So these are the situations right now in Gaza. In addition to what happened last night, horrific nights, intense bombardment across the Gaza Strip, but mainly concentrating in the northern part and Gaza City, right at the western part of the coastline, the eastern part, as Israeli special forces were advancing into those areas.
Yeah, honey, this will come as Israel's cut off the phone and internet lines into Gaza. Can you just explain how big an impact that has had?
Have you noticed that the phone lines are back now because the bombing stopped?
Well, it has been really,
the phone lines have come back
now it's 22 hours
because the press has gone back to normal. Tonight, 4 o'clock, which is in, I don't know, what time is it?
From the outside world and
I don't know, what time is it?
2.5 million people are from either checking on each other, running their daily activities in these difficult times. In addition, we have international organizations such as the United Nations, the Red Cross, reported that due to disabled communication, they haven't been able to get in touch with their team members on the ground, just hindering their operations and arrangements and just facilitating the delivery of aid for evacuees in UNRWA schools so far.
Okay, thank you so much, Hani. We really do appreciate all your work that you are doing for us. That is Hani Mahmoud for us in Khan Yunis. But there's been a new warning from the Israeli army for citizens of northern Gaza to evacuate. Sada Haddad has more from occupied East Jerusalem.
Yeah, well, the spokesman for the army, Daniel Hagari, has said on Twitter, on social media, that he's warning it's an urgent appeal to those living in the north of Gaza and Gaza City to head to the south. It's interesting the wording in there, because he said to temporarily move to the south. We've not really heard that until now. There's also amongst Palestinians certainly a feeling that they're trying to force the Palestinians out of Gaza through opening these humanitarian corridors. There's also been talk that they don't want this to be a second Nakba. Nakba is known as the day of catastrophe in 1948, when 750,000 Palestinians were forced from their homes. Many of them had to leave and have never been able to return. Also in that message, he said that they were looking to target Hamas with precision rather. Again, trying to tell Palestinians and even international community, because there has been that criticism towards Israel. So they're trying to say that they would only be targeting Hamas and not civilians. Well, of course, the death toll tells us a very different story of civilians that have been killed in Gaza. But also, the other thing is how are they getting that message across to people in Gaza when it's in complete blackout? People aren't able to access the internet. They're not able to even be able to convey that message to them. We've seen a video from overnight where the only way to be able to communicate amongst Palestinians was using speakers in the mosques to get the message out and the word out that they were being attacked, and that this whole part of Gaza, the whole of Gaza, for the first time has been plunged into complete darkness, with no electricity, no telecommunication, and no access to the internet. The government has previously dropped leaflets to inform the Palestinians in Gaza. Potentially they could do that again. But for many people, they refuse to leave, even though Israel has accused Hamas of stopping them from being able to move.
As chaos grips Gaza around the world, we're seeing huge displays of outrage and anger. Thousands of people are taking part in Palestinian solidarity rallies from the streets of Ramallah and Baghdad to London and Istanbul. In Turkey, the demonstrations have been called by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. He's addressing the crowds now. And let's go live to Osama bin Javid, who is there at the rally in Istanbul. And Osama, Erdogan's been very forceful in his comments against Israel. He's been calling them war criminals. What else has he been saying?
Well, this is the strongest speech yet since this crisis began in Gaza, saying Erdogan has come out saying that Hamas, again reiterating Hamas are not terrorists, calling Israel a terror organization, saying that they are committing massacres against innocent civilians, war criminals, as Turkey would like to present them to the rest of the world. And this is by far one of his strongest speeches that we've heard, as anger has been growing in Turkey. We saw thousands of people gathered last night when the latest onslaught on Gaza began. And here, thousands and thousands of people have been arriving at this rally to show solidarity with Palestine. Recep Tayyip Erdogan also making reference to the West, saying that there is hypocrisy in the way they've been dealing with the people of Gaza, saying the people who were shedding crocodile tears over Ukraine are silent today. He's saying that whatever is happening in Gaza is happening at the behest of Western powers, and they should be held to account as well. So you're seeing much of the anger that has been happening in the last couple of weeks across the Middle East and Muslim majority nations. Erdogan taking it all in, and now saying it in front of this audience, and not just saying it to the people who are gathered here, but to an international audience as well.
And how important are Erdogan's words as far as Israel is concerned? I mean, are they adding any extra pressure?
You see, Erdogan is speaking not just as the president of Turkey, but Erdogan's words come as a NATO member, an ally of the West who is being seen by people here protesting on the streets and standing firmly behind Israel. People here have been saying that the Western powers have been complicit in what is happening in Gaza, the killing of innocent children and civilians. And here you see Erdogan again making reference to the Ottoman Empire, saying that Turkey, even today, stands with all of the people who are being oppressed, and saying that Turkey at one point ruled major parts of Africa and Eastern nations as well. So it is coming at a point where you see a lot, even even at the United Nations, there is a clear division of where West stands with Israel and Eastern nations, Arab nations, Muslim majority countries who are calling for immediate cessation of hostilities, calling for an immediate ceasefire, calling for immediate aid to be delivered to the people who need it most, whereas the condemnation from the West is being towards Hamas, calling for a release of the people who are being kept captive by Hamas in the Gaza Strip and Palestinian territories. And then this division obviously playing up here in Istanbul as well. And it's worth noting that these protests are not just happening in Istanbul, as you mentioned, across Muslim majority countries. The streets are seething with anger. And you're seeing a hardening of the traffic coming from the leadership of many of these countries, whether it is Turkey or Jordan or other parts of Muslim majority.
Okay, thanks so much for that. That is Osama bin Javed for us in Istanbul. Well, thousands of people are also marching in London to show their support for Palestine. They are calling for an end to the bombardment of Gaza as well as Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. The protesters also want Western countries to stop arming Israel. Similar rallies are expected in cities right across the UK, including Manchester and Glasgow. Neve Barker joins us now from London with much more on this. And Neve, just given the huge numbers of people that have turned out today at this protest, how much pressure does that put on the government there?
Well, this is the kind of pressure that's very, very hard to ignore. I haven't seen crowds this size and scale for many, many years here in the UK, and some are already comparing it to the 2003 demonstrations that brought many hundreds of thousands of people on the street opposed the invasion of Iraq. The strength of feeling here is immense. There have been a whole series of impassioned speeches on the stage to my left here by a series of politicians from across the political spectrum, I might add. I think what's enraged people most is the decision by the British government to abstain from that all-important vote at the United Nations, and also to join the United States and other Western powers in unequivocally supporting Israel in what it means.
Oh, they are walking down the road.
Of self-defense, but in doing so, people here are simply saying that they are greenlighting atrocities, greenlighting potential war crimes that are happening on a daily basis in Gaza.
But they're not highlighting war crimes that are happening on a daily basis. All they're doing is, right, this here is St Thomas's Hospital. So this bridge is the A3, yeah? This is a hospital. So they've blocked the whole access off to a hospital. This is an emergency care unit. Yeah.
Israel is now really under strain.
Okay, thank you so much for that. That is Neve Barker for us
in
London.
All these people that need emergency care can now not get into St Thomas's Hospital in London on the A3 because they've blocked the bridge off. So now people are going to die while they're trying to protect Palestinians. So British people and foreigners will die today because they can't get to the hospital. That big building you saw opposite the House of Commons is St Thomas's Hospital. Major hospital in London.
So much growing movement in support of Palestinians.
And they've blocked it off.
People in general. So we can see these rallies and demonstrations in every Western country. So I don't.
Because this is how stupid people are. Now, when one of them has a heart attack and can't get to the hospital because they've blocked the road off, what are they going to do then?
The killing, mass killing, over 3,000 children.
I didn't know they were right outside St Thomas's Hospital.
Still rallying behind Netanyahu. At least they could say something.
So what do you think it will take for them to actually say something, to then assert pressure on Israel?
Either to see, a major catastrophe, spread of diseases, thousands of people will die out of lack of food, water, sanitation, and maybe the bombardment will continue. And if they see maybe 100,000 Palestinians killed, they might say something. I am really astonished how they are reacting to this. I mean, they were very calm with what happened. But when a few hundred Israelis were killed, I mean, everybody took their arms and went to the field.
I'm
unbelievable. I mean, you condemn that if you, in your view, that what Hamas did. I'm not saying that. I'm not condoning.
I'm amazed how stupid the human race is now.
Women, uprooting people, destroying schools, hospitals, completely abolishing quarters in Gaza. 40% of all the houses are destroyed, and yet they're still talking about what Hamas did.
Yes.
And I witnessed that in the General Assembly yesterday. I couldn't. It's too much.
Yeah. The previous guest that we had on here, Tamar Kamut, was saying that it could be one of Israel's plans is to make it so unbearable within Gaza that it forces hundreds of thousands, if not more than 1 million people across the border into Egypt. Now, we know that President Sisi has said that that is not going to happen on his watch. But do you think that that is a possibility and that is one of the aims of Israel?
I think they want to make their life unbearable, especially in the northern part of Gaza. They believe this part where Hamas stronghold is, underneath the
tunnels.
Because it's a close proximity to Egypt. Mm-hmm. So they might have even some kind of tunnels which go underneath the Egyptian territory. We don't know.
Yeah. So
probably that's their expectation. So they want to make life unbearable there, unlivable, destroy it completely to the ground, and then they will go to pierce under the ground. So if they push the population there to the south, you will have about 2 million cramped in a very small place, about 150 square kilometers in the south. It is unviable. They cannot survive there. So there must be some solution. Either push them out or bring in some kind of agreement.
People say to me, well, Ray, what can we do about it? And I say, I don't know. We're out of ideas now. Even the British government don't know what to do now. The country and the world is in that much poverty now. We're in a hole that we're never going to get out of.
The UN General Assembly overwhelmingly passes a resolution calling for a durable humanitarian truce despite US objections.
I've never seen the world in such a bad state. Never. You know, even in World War II, it wasn't this bad. You know, at least in World War II, everyone was helping each other.
The rain also moving into northwest Saudi Arabia around Al-Ula. But up and down the Gulf states, looking good. Things much more comfortable.
The only place I've been on that map is Doha, Qatar.
Here,
on that map, I haven't been anywhere.
Turkmenistan's capital, Ashgabat, 28. Now for Turkey, a bit more cloud cover. We've got some showers.
Turkey, I've been Istanbul.
Nothing major. Most of the country will be dealing with sunny conditions.
I've been to Greece as well. Been to Tunisia. That's it. I'm there.
West Africa, fairly quiet, but through the south coast of Nigeria, some pulses of rain. Same goes for
where's that?
How intense that rain has been, and also for Somalia.
Oh, South Africa. Okay.
And for this
no, that's South Africa.
It is quite active, and then cooler air.
3 maps for Africa. Wow.
23 to just 10 degrees on Monday.
You're watching Al Jazeera. A reminder of our top stories this hour. Israel has subjected the Gaza Strip to the heaviest bombardment since the start of the war on October the 7th. Overwhelmed hospitals...
Anyway, I'm not looking at the screen. I'm sorry, guys.
...says civil order has collapsed. Thousands of people are marching in London to show solidarity with Palestine. They want Western countries to stop arming Israel. In Turkey, the president led a protest calling for an end to Israel's war on Gaza. Israel has severed communication networks across
the road that went along the river is called the embankment.
the spokeswoman for the Palestine Red Crescent Society, spoke to us earlier. She told us how more than 2 million people in Gaza are in a war zone and unable to call an ambulance.
So for over 18 hours up to now, we are unable to communicate with our teams who are working on the ground right now in Gaza. With complete disconnection with our operation room in Gaza.
Yeah, 2.5 million people. They can call an ambulance. It's called Shout.
We are completely worried about
If you can't call an ambulance, then they will put an ambulance like every 300 yards. So if you need one, there's one on call. And these ambulances will have CVs in them. So this is a crock of shit.
2 million Palestinians there.
When you call an ambulance, you don't call it on your mobile phone. When they need to contact an ambulance driver, they use two-way radio, like a normal CB. Well, like I said yesterday, one of the cheap $20 walkie-talkies. It's this is bull. They have fuel, they have food, they have power, and they have communications.
Taken into consideration that there is many patients who are in emergency situations as well as women, pregnant women. We're talking about 5,000.
Right. If they have no power, they have no water, they have no
unable to communicate with the
communication system, how are these getting out? Every ambulance driver in Gaza has probably got a satellite phone in the cab now for this exact reason. If you're in a war zone, the first thing that goes down is command and control, which includes communication. So they'll have satellite phones in their cabs. When I was an ambulance driver for the St. John ambulance, we had a CB in the front of the car. Even my own car had a CB in it, so it's bull. Same in America. My car had a CB in it.
Barges Knuckle has actually been in prison several times. He's right now was arrested.
Right. And the other thing is, there's no cell network. Bluetooth still works. This is what I say to people on a daily basis. Stop sharing things by the web, because 8 billion people in the world don't have the web, but you can share by Bluetooth. You make a bitmap, you send it to the nearest phone, urgent, need ambulance. They send it, you send it to one person's phone, they then Bluetooth it to another phone, they then Bluetooth it to another phone, and hopefully somewhere along the line, someone's in the need of an ambulance, bang, they take it to the ambulance driver, right, this person in urgent need of thing, this is the address, and the ambulance is dispatched, and then he gets on his two-way radio. They have no cell network. That will not affect Bluetooth. You can't block the Bluetooth service. So if you're ever in a situation where you've got no phone signal and you've got no internet, then use Bluetooth.
In the occupied West Bank, a Palestinian olive farmer has been shot dead by Israeli settlers as he harvested his crop. Palestinian olive growers have suffered decades of violence by settlers and increasingly restricted access to their crops.
Use down carrier pigeon if you have to.
Southern Israel on October the 7th. The UN says the situation has got much worse. Charles Stratford reports from the village of Burqa.
Olive harvest season in the occupied West Bank. The most important time of year for thousands of Palestinian farmers. Many have owned land and farmed these rocky slopes for generations. Israeli settlers have set up an illegal outpost on the hill and blocked the road with concrete and earth. A drone flies above, watching the Palestinians